Okay, good morning. So, this morning I'm using my son's favorite cup. Little llama on the banjo. All right, so while my youngest son is, a little apple of my eye, my oldest son drives me out of my mind. Okay, and this is because of a lot of internalized ableism that I have been trying to overcome my entire life. And now that I'm on my own journey of self-discovery in terms of considering myself neurodiverse, I am convinced I have ADHD. I am also suspect that I have autism, and I do really identify as the subtype or profile of pathological demand avoidance, that some people with ADHD and or autism or both, especially in the UK, have kind of organized and self-advocate as an organized group to be recognized. Okay. Yes, I was diagnosed in my early 20s with nonverbal learning disorder, but things change, right? And I'm 50 now, so who knows if that's still the appropriate diagnosis, right? In any case, lots of people with nonverbal learning disabilities share traits with people who are ADHD. There's a mosquito. Go away. I think this is the same mosquito as I was dealing with last night. Anyway, so shared traits. Anyway, I put it all in one bucket and call it neurodiverse. Plus trauma, right? Like several times, several different kinds over many developmental periods across my lifetime. So up until I met my current spouse, we've been together for 23 years, and she is the joy in my heart. I love her so much. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about was how my autistic eldest son drives me crazy. In particular ways that I don't think ever any therapist that I've ever had access to, which is a lot, okay, has ever truly really understood. Now, if I put the lens of possibly autistic myself, then the situation between me and my eldest becomes really clear to me. All right. The reason he drives me nuts is because I see myself in him. And he also has, like, I don't want to divulge too much, but yes, he has intellectual disability and he's dependent. He's not autonomous, and he won't be able to be autonomous because he probably has pathological demand avoidance as well as I do. All right, so there's two of us in one house, right? And he's also been diagnosed with ADHD, and what else does he have? Something OCD like, he's got generalized anxiety disorder, right? We're very alike, and but the difference is that I have to be the mother, and I can barely parent myself, okay? Because I am not always an adult. In my mind, in my heart, I often feel like someone from the past, right? Like in some period of my past. And that's because I'm kind of activated in my trauma since the pandemic, right? So now I'm learning a lot about how to calm myself down. And, I have done this learning many times. Like every time I've gone through a developmental growth phase of life, right? It's just part of my innate nature is to review my entire life. So, I mean, I've done this many times, and now I'm sort of transitioning from mothering to taking a step back and just being like, okay, you do it, right? He's 30 years old. He can do more than he is doing, but he is emotionally dependent upon me. And I find it really hard. I have this image, this ideal that I strive to be in my mothering role. And letting go of the intense form of like being really wrapped up in like every thought and every moment to moment experience of my child, right? Taking a step back, right? I had no way of really doing that gently. I didn't know how. I really didn't. I didn't experience that for myself. And I know my mother didn't experience that for herself, right? This is a generational legacy of trying to transform the relationship through anger. And that's very hurtful. So I'm really working on it. I'm working on my anger, but let me tell you, I have needs, and I have actually very, very deep and important needs for solitude. And my mother needed solitude, and I felt that as abandonment. And because I really had no other support but her, because we were immigrants, or she was an immigrant with no network, right? No support. So she was alone, and she had no way of ever having her solitude except to just shut it down, put the wall, the invisible glass between us. And it was utterly painful because what did I do to deserve that? And whenever I turned around, there was no other family member capable of receiving my need, meeting me where I needed them to be. And because I was the younger one, I mean, the sacrifice should have been made for me. In our society, we want our mothers to put themselves aside, deny themselves their needs in order to be good mothers, to be ones that actually give us all of themselves. And of course, this is a ridiculous fiction that just cannot be sustained. It's not true, right? So how do I do it? How do I do it? And the image that came to mind, because I've just been so angry with him, like for just ordinary him stuff, like he's not going to change. He's not going to grow out of himself. He grew into himself. He is himself. He needs what he needs. And I need what I need. So the image that came to mind was like the mother cat when she's like done nursing the gigantic kittens that are just as big as she is. She's like really violent. She's ready to make them go away. And maybe this transition doesn't have to be gentle, but I'm such a gentle person. I don't know what to do. The thing is I have to understand and remind myself that we are so similar, but we are different in our experience, because I did make those sacrifices, because I did have a bigger support system than my own mother did, right? She was alone with me. She had no people around her, but I did have people around me. I had financial support too. And then very quickly after my divorce, I had my spouse, like my second spouse, but my permanent, my heart's love, right? Well, I really could not have raised those boys without her. Like, no. So, because of friendship and support and community help and family support and love, right? The next generation got more support at the critical periods in their life. And even so, I am still disabled, and my eldest is still disabled, and I can't completely meet his needs. And so I'm kind of stuck in this spot where to be a good mother, I had to sacrifice myself, but I have been doing that my entire adult life. I had when I was barely 19, right? So I'm tired. And other moms get to take a break, right? They get to like graduate. So that's what I want. I want to graduate, and I don't want it to be traumatic, but I need him to be more autonomous. And boy, oh boy, this summer he has chosen to not be autonomous, and it is really, I've had enough. All right, so I'm going to drink my cup of coffee, and thank you very much for listening to my rant, because actually I do feel a lot more clear. I need to process this stuff out loud. I just need someone to talk to. Thank you.